Hello, I'm ready to start chapter 8 in our mystery read aloud. This chapter you have not heard as a class yet. I'm pretty excited about it because I think you're going to find that we might end up finding some more clues, possibly another suspect. We'll see. Let's get started. Something else was bothering Henry. I don't understand how that woman could have taken the trunk. The train stopped and then started again before we could come look for her. She wasn't here, but the trunk still was then. Violet jumped up. Maybe she hid it somewhere else on the train so that maybe somebody else at the next stop could get it off. Or maybe she dragged it onto the observation platform. Oh, we already looked there, Benny reminded Violet. I'm going to look again, Jessie said. And they all followed Jessie to the back of the train. When they got there, they could see that the platform was completely empty. What's all over the floor? Those little things. Violet bent down. She picked it up. Looked like crumbs from something. Jessie picked one up too. They're cookie crumbs from a sugar cookie. Wait a minute. What happened earlier? Those cookie crumbs could be or another part in the story. Remember, we got to look for little clues that link us back to other parts of the story. It's a text connection within a text. So good detectives do that often. Cookie crumbs from a sugar cookie? So that's where the missing cookies went. She snuck into the kitchen last evening and took them. She must have been out here waiting for a chance to get at the trunk. It still doesn't explain where it is now. I have an idea, Henry said. He leaned over the railing and looked around the edge of the car. Train cars usually have a way to get to the roof of each car, like footholds attached to a side. Just like this one. Jessie shuddered. Ugh, I don't want to climb up there when the train's moving. Well, maybe she did it when it was stopped and is hiding now. Violet leaned over to look at the footholds. I don't know how she'd get that trunk to the roof. It's really heavy, even if it's empty. Benny took hold of Jessie's hand. That's creepy. I don't like that somebody's sneaking around our train. I know, Benny. All of a sudden, Jessie's eye caught something. There was a truck going down the road next to the track. It was a pickup truck. And a woman with a blonde ponytail looked out the passenger window at the train. There she is again, Violet cried. And she's got our trunk. That trunk was sitting in the back of the pickup, and the pickup slowed down and then turned off onto a side road and now headed away from the track and out of sight as the train left it behind. Millie and Grandfather came through the door and crowded onto the platform with them. Henry explained what had just happened and then added, She must have arranged to have someone pick her up at the cruise switch stop, Henry said. Emilio smacked his hand against his forehead. You're right, and now she's got the boxes. This is bad. She doesn't have the boxes. We have the boxes, Benny told him. And he told him what him and Violet had done the night before. Good thinking, you two, Grandfather said. Whew, that's a relief. Emilio pulled out a handkerchief, took off his cap, and wiped his forehead. Jessie noticed something strange about his face. His nose looked crooked all of a sudden. She didn't remember it being crooked before, and since it was such a big nose, she was sure she would have noticed. I don't know how she got on the train in the first place, Emilio said. I went all through it, making sure it was ready for our trip. I know, Violet said. I thought I saw someone running along the side of the train when it started, and I think she jumped on board at the last minute. I need to report this to Mrs. Silverton, Emilio said. He punched in some numbers and said, Mrs. Silverton? And as he said that, he walked back into the observation car. They all went inside. Then they heard Emilio say something that sounded like urgent as he continued walking on the train. In a few minutes, Emilio came back. Everything's fine, he said. But we heard you say the word urgent. Emilio frowned. I didn't say urgent. You just misheard me. Now I have some things I need to attend to. Breakfast is all laid out in the dining car. And then he practically ran out of the car. The Aldens followed more slowly. When they reached the dining car, Emilio wasn't there, and he wasn't in the kitchen either. I expect he's getting everything sorted out, Grandfather said. Violet wasn't so sure. She knew she heard him say the word urgent. When they finished breakfast, Grandfather went to the library car to do some work. The rest of them went back to the Pullman car, got dressed, and cleaned up. I don't like not knowing what's happening, Henry said. And even though we have the boxes, we still don't know who we are delivering them to. How are we supposed to figure that out? Trudy told us we could contact her if we needed to. You've got her card. Why don't you contact her? Henry took it out of his backpack. It had her Skype name on it. Emilio said the train has Wi-Fi, so we can call her. Jessie started up her laptop. Trudy answered immediately, as if she'd been expecting them to call. They explained what had happened. Yes, I heard about that. I didn't want to worry you before, but there is something you need to know. The Redimus Society has, enemies of sort. There's a greedy family of collectors who run an auction house called Argent Auctions. They want the treasures in the boxes so they can be sold to the highest bidders. I never expected them to send someone to get on our train. From the description, it sounds like it's a woman named Anna Argent. I don't think Anna will try again, though. Even once she figures out the trunk. Sorry about puppies. Even once she figures out the trunk is that it's empty, it would be difficult for her to get back on the train and search for the boxes. Whew, that's a relief, Jessie said. She sat back in her chair. Trudy, we have another problem, Henry said. Who gets the items once we get to New Mexico? Oh, I was planning on calling you today to give you that hint. There's something on the train that will help you. Look for something that is out of time. She smiled. I expect Violet will be the one to find it. I have to go now. Bye. She hung up. They all looked at Violet. She shook her head. I don't know why I'm supposed to be the one. Well, we've got a whole day and night on the train before we arrive. Let's explore. Maybe we'll find something around here and figure something out. It could be something like an hourglass, Jessie suggested. When the sand runs out of an hourglass, it's sort of like running out of time. What do you guys think's going to happen? Running out of time. Interesting clue. Wonder what it is. Good idea, Violet said. They went all over the train, having fun examining all the antique objects. They didn't find an hourglass or anything that seemed as if it fit the clue. They asked Emilio if he had any ideas of what the clue meant, but he said he didn't. He was busy working on his own laptop, and when they came up to him, he closed the lid so they couldn't see his screen. Is he acting a little strange or what? When the children had looked everywhere, they settled back into the parlor car, dejected that they hadn't figured out the clue. I don't know what to do next. Out of time, Violet murmured. Seems to me good detectives should replay things in their head, try to look at it in a different way. She was sitting opposite the picture she had noticed the first night, Trudy's word art. It struck her again that it looked odd amongst all the old furniture and decorations. She jumped up. I see something that's out of time, at least out of the time of everything else on the train, or the time period. This is the word art picture Trudy was working on at the library. It's too modern for this train. You're right, Jessie jumped up too. Back when the cars were built and decorated, there weren't any markers. Artists would have used paint or colored pencils. Yes, and I don't think anyone made this kind of word art, Violet added. Henry took it off the wall. What do the words say? History is learned in many ways, sometimes through stories and sometimes without words. The story on the back will help you find her last name. Look for her in the city in the sky, speaking of lost things. It sounds like we need to find a city in the clouds, Benny found. There isn't such a thing, is there? No, Jessie said. Let's Google city in the sky and see what comes up, Violet suggested. When they did, thousands of images of pictures came up of imaginary places and real places with the nickname, but they couldn't find anything in New Mexico. Even though there were books and games aboard, the Aldens were anxious for the journey to end. So when Emilio told them we are about to pull into Albuquerque Station in New Mexico, everyone cheered. He handed them a small padded duffel bag. It was dark blue and had a strap as well as a handle on it. This is the bag for all the items. Jesse placed the turtle and all the boxes inside and zipped it up. Your rental car is waiting for you, he continued. You can leave watch and your luggage with me. I'll deliver them to Albuquerque Airport. So after you find the Redimus agent and return the turtle, you can head straight to the airport to go home. He sounded so sure they would complete the task. They felt more confident about what lay ahead of them. Watch, you be good, Benny said as he knelt down to give Watch a hug. The other children said their goodbyes too. Don't worry, I'll take good care of him, Emilio assured them. They were about to get off the train when Benny said, Wait, I can't find my flashlight. Look in your backpack, Jesse told him. Benny did, but it wasn't there. When did you last have it? He was using it yesterday when we were exploring the train. It could be anywhere. You'll have to search for it, Grandfather said. I need to make a phone call, so I'll get the rental car and then make my call. You can meet me in the front of the train station when you find his flashlight. The children searched the whole train. Violet finally found the flashlight on a shelf at the library. Oh, I remember, Benny said. I set it down because my shoe came unfastened and I needed to tie it. At least it's found now, Jesse said. Put it in your pocket so it doesn't get lost again. Let's go say goodbye to Emilio and then find Grandfather. Emilio was cleaning up the kitchen. All ready to go, he asked. They nodded. I'm sure I'll see you again soon, he said. Watch and I will walk you out. As they went through the dining car, Benny looked out the window. He was startled by what he saw. There was a whole crowd of people out there staring at the train. Oh, this train is one of the highlights of the Railroad Festival. People are excited they are going to get to tour it. Violet looked out at the crowd too. Behind the crowd, she noticed a white truck parked at an odd angle. The name Argent Auctions was painted on the side. It had a logo on it too. The logo looked a little like the Redimus one, except instead of the R inside the fancy circle, this one had a silver A inside a plain circle. A tall woman got out of the cab of the truck. She had a blonde ponytail. It's her, Violet said. Anna Argent, the woman who was on the train. The woman strode through the crowd toward the train, shoving people aside. She's looking right at us, Benny said. This is not good. Amelia pulled Violet and Benny away from the window. You need to get out of here. Go through the parlor car and get off there on the other side. I'll try to distract her. The Aldens ran through the dining car and into the parlor car, dodging the sofas and chairs. When they reached the far end, they pushed open the door and went out onto the platform. Jessie peeked around the corner of the car. I don't see her anymore. She might already be on the train. This way, Henry said. They jumped down and not sure where to go. The station was behind them, and there was the commuter train between them and a sidewalk to get to it. There, Jessie pointed. The tracks end up ahead. We can go around the engine to get to the other side. They dashed around the engine and past the commuter train. Many of its cars were double-deckered with that blocked the view of the Silverton train. She won't be able to see us with the train in the way. Hurry, Henry said. They piled into the car that Grandfather was sitting in. We need to leave right now. Anna Argent is looking for us. As they pulled away from the station, Violet looked out the window in time to see Anna run out of the door and stop looking in all directions. Jessie yelled, Duck down! We don't want her to spot us. But Grandfather was calm. I think we are far enough away that she shouldn't see us, Grandfather said. She doesn't know what the rental car looks like, and she doesn't know where we are going. Everything will be fine. It's not like the items belong to her anyway. She can't just come up to you and demand you to give them to her. Mrs. Silverton told me she won't be a problem. I believe her. Henry hoped Grandfather was right. Neither Grandfather nor Mrs. Silverton had seen the angry look on Anna's face. For the next 2 hours, they drove through a beautiful landscape of mountains and rock formations in all sorts of colors. Some of them looked kind of gold when the sun hit them in certain angles. When they came to a valley, Benny looked out the window in front of them. It's a square mountain. Looks like a giant box made out of rocks. Oh, Henry said, that's called a mesa. If you look more closely, you can see buildings on top of it. That's Acoma Pueblo. How do we get up there? Violet asked. There are tours, Grandfather said, but we have to buy our tickets at the area below the mesa. He parked the car by a building with a sign next to it that read, Sky City Cultural Center and Haiku Museum. Jesse laughed. We were Googling the wrong order of words. It's not a city in the sky, it's Sky City. This is the place that our clue has led us to. So maybe the Redimus agent works in the museum. Violet said, that would make sense. Let's go. Looks like we have possible suspects. Not any more clues, although we did solve a clue or two. But remember, we need to look back at the clues we do have. So I want you to think about that. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.